Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Floss 2. I am coming to you on this Monday, August 25th, 2025 with the Big Brother Stitchy game. This is week 6 recap edition. We are a couple of days into week 7 and this is my first opportunity I've had to step in and talk to y'all about week 6. That's not technically true. It's a little bit of a fib. Sorry about that. I filmed what would have been part 1 of a 2-part video. I filmed part 1 on Saturday. However, I developed a gnarly migraine. That's the only way I can describe it. It was a really bad migraine overnight, Saturday night. And I think that there were some warning signs, and that video that I filmed on Saturday was the first one. I did not have my words. I was struggling to stay on task, to stay focused, to keep my train of thought going. It was not great. And then I wasn't able to come back to you later on Saturday. Nor Sunday. I was in post-migraine mode. I still don't feel 100%. I'm still having bouts of vertigo here today, but I can see, so there's that. there's that. And so I just decided we're just gonna do a mass recap of the whole week, and then we're gonna try something new for week 7. Which, as mentioned, has already gotten started. So before I get into showing you all of the projects I worked on for Big Brother last week, just a couple of quick reminders. In this video series, I do talk about the projects as they are associated with the players, and I often throw in my commentary for what's happening in the Big Brother game close-ish to real time. So in this video today, I won't talk about anything that happened on Sunday night to kick off week 7, but up through week 6 eviction this past Thursday, I am going to talk specifics about the players. So if you are not caught up on the CBS television show, start there first. Don't get spoiled by me. But I do talk about those things in specifics in this video series. It's why I keep it separate from my regular updates, because I like to talk about things in specifics, but yeah, so just letting you know that there. The other thing to talk about before I start showing projects is that I am going to open up the Facebook group. I know a few of you have already found it, super sleuths that you are. I'm just going to open it up and start letting people join. We are going to have a 3-question requirement in order to be able to join the group. Just basic stuff to keep out the spammers and the bots and such. That is linked in the description box below. A note about spoilers there. We're going to keep it really basic and try to keep our posts to more generic than house guest particulars. So for instance, you might see posts up there that say week 7 head of household. And so I will put up my starting point for week 7 head of household, but I'm not going to spoil who is the head of household for this week, just for those folks who are not up to date. So just letting you all know that there. I think that's it. So yeah, there will be spoilers in this video for last week, not for the current week, and Facebook group is open. Okay, let's get into it. I have everything that I worked on for week 6 Big Brother. And this is not in order of when I worked on things. This is in order of events in the game. For instance, one of the last things that I worked on was the things we bury. So this is my project for Keanu, and Keanu was a non, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh no, it continues. He was a non-issue in week 6. He managed to survive just long enough to be able to form some relationships, and he is temporarily out of the woods, at least through week 6. However, from week 5, he won the BB Blockbuster, and so I still needed to catch up on my stitches for that. So that lives in this project bag here. This is a stitch and button bag. My usual note here. All of the project bag makers that I can talk about will be linked in the description box below. Or rather, all of the project bag makers that I can link will be linked in the description box. Preview here of what this will look like. This is the Things We Bury. This is by Unconventional X Stitch. The artist on this is Emerald Barkley. And I needed just 100 stitches to knock out that BB Blockbuster from week 5. I ended up doing a little bit more. I did 172 because I had one block to do that didn't quite get me to 100 stitches even. And so I ended up doing the next 2 because they were both partial blocks. So this block here got me to like 96 stitches. So I did this one, but because this is full coverage, no background, the curvature of the snake here made that block super teeny tiny. So I did that one. And then I came up here and did the last block of the row up here, which is only 30 stitches. So that the next time this comes out, the next time anything happens for Keanu, either against him or for him, then I will have a full block to start with. So 172 stitches this week, as mentioned. I am now at 5,149 stitches complete this project of 97,776 stitches total. And I am up to 5.27% complete. Very exciting. One thing I meant to mention ahead of time is that this video, I'm really bad about before and after pictures, especially with 100, 200 stitch increments. So I'm going to be pointing out what I did for this video for the most part. There's not going to be much in the way of before and afters. We'll see how it goes. So that is where I finished up with the Things We Bury. Love this so very much. I am just about to hit the bottom of the page, which would be, that'll be fun. Okay. The next project I have to show you is the Head of Household piece for week 6. Okay, so we weren't able to watch the Head of Household competition on Sunday night for week 6. So not yesterday, but the week before. We were not able to watch it on Sunday night. My football team, we had one of our preseason games. My husband had just gotten home from a board gaming retreat, so we weren't able to watch the Head of Household competition that night. We ended up watching it Monday afternoon. However, I got spoiled. I looked up who won Head of Household ahead of time because I wanted to get started with my stitching. And the person who won Head of Household last week was Rachel, which is dangerous. It is dangerous for a returning player to get a foothold in that way. These people really are proving themselves to be rookies, because if you have a returning player, if they are given the opportunity to weasel their way into the hearts and minds of everybody they're playing with, they're going to go far. And Rachel, it seems in particular, is really good at this. So she won Head of Household, and it's going to be an uphill battle for everybody else. If Rachel's going to win competitions and manage to survive despite being a returning house guest, like, she's got a resume. She's got a resume. She walked in the door with a resume. She also walked in the door with Target, and they're not taking advantage as they should be. Anyway, I was excited for the project. So my project for Rachel, should she win Head of Household, is Quick Stitch Day and Night. Artist is Nadia Strelkina, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Preview here of what this will look like finished. And if you saw my regular update video from last week, then you know that I had completed all of these stitches all on, I think, I think Sunday into Monday is when I got this accomplished. Because I was working on this project for another thing outside of Big Brother stitching, and I just felt like doing a mass of stitches all at once. So anyway, so let me show you the progress, and then I will bring it in close. It just occurred to me that I did not tell you about fabric on the last one, so I will have put that on the screen. The fabric on this one is a 25 count Easy Grid Lugana from Zweigart. I am stitching this 1/1 full cross with the called for DMCs. I'm using Anchor Black instead of DMC 310. So my 700 stitches for Rachel's head of household was this diagonal. It ended up being 720 stitches. But cool news is that that 20 stitch block there got me to the right side of the page. So that's pretty fun. My diagonals are as big as they will be for this page, which is page 8, I believe. And my Rachel diagonal got me some of the moth. So that was very fun. Very, very cool. I feel like I have shown this so many times. And I mean, I have. Between my regular update and my failed Big Brother video from Saturday, this this progress has seen a lot of video. But anyway, so that's where we are now. So quick stitch day and night, I did 798 stitches for Rachel's head of household between the feathering and whatnot that I do. I am now at 18,661 stitches complete of 210,648 stitches total. My percentage is up to 8.86%, so that's very exciting. Almost 9%. 10% is roughly 21,000 stitches. It's only 3,000 stitches away. Yeah, that's achievable this year. It's not in any specific plans necessarily, but that is achievable this year. I don't know about you all, but I had an idea of who she would nominate, and I was wrong for 2/3 of it. So I knew one of them she was going to nominate, but these other two were surprising. So first up, she nominated Morgan, and I was for it. I'm not a big Morgan fan. I want to be a Morgan fan. She's a gamer girl, and so I want to be pro Morgan, but I'm just not. So Morgan's project lives in this bag. This is a bag by Momily, or by Emily C. She called them Momily bags when she was making and selling them. You won't find anything in the description box for this because they are not for sale anymore. And this is Autumn Cloche. So I was really excited to get to work on this again. I had this piece for a temperature piece, and then temperature stitching went by the wayside. So I was really excited to get to spend some time on this. So Morgan was just nominated. She didn't win anything, and she survived the block. So she didn't win Veto or BB Blockbuster. So I needed just 200 stitches for Autumn Cloche. And so here's where I got to. I spent my 200 stitches finishing out this flower. I had probably maybe 60% of that flower done, and so I finished out the flower. I did a little bit of the leaf here and the stem. 200 stitches doesn't go very far. So this is a 40 count Newcastle linen in I thought so. Rain washed. This is rain washed by Color and Cotton. I'm stitching this using DMCs, the DMC conversion provided by Liz. She charted it in NPI silks, but I went for the DMC conversion, and I love it. Let's see. I did 202 stitches this week, bringing my total to 2,663 stitches on this project. The total stitch count is 18,959, so I'm practically nowhere. 14.05% complete. So that is where I am with Autumn Cloche. Oh, I love this one. I need Morgan to find herself on the block a lot. And I need her to win some competitions too, because that would be great. So that is where I finished up with Autumn Cloche this week. Okay, up next we have the other somewhat surprise nominee, and that was Mickey. So Mickey was nominated, and Mickey's project I have not been able to work on since I think 2023. So it felt really good to get back to this one again. And that lives in this project bag here. This is another Stitch and Button bag, and this was from her Christmas mystery box from a few years ago. This is my Christmas Quaker Bellpull. This is one of the projects that gets the most love on my social media. And I mean, it's one of my favorites too, so I don't blame you. So this is by Stickideen van der Vanberg, and I love this piece so very much. I have the length of a yard here. I'm not going to need the whole length, but it is a long Bellpull. So I'm just keeping it long, and I'll cut it once I get to the bottom in a long time. This thing is like 600 and some odd stitches tall. It's big. And I'm kind of nowhere with it. So yeah, this is a 40 count Newcastle linen in platinum from Zweigart. I'm stitching 1/2 with the called for red and green. It also calls for a DMC yellow, but I needed some sparkle on my Christmas piece, so I subbed for PB26. Otherwise, the red and green are called for DMC. And this time, I only worked in red. I spent most of my time on this motif here, and that is maybe halfway, I'd say. Maybe halfway for that half Quaker motif. And I also finished out the E. I had a couple more legs of the E to finish up. So I needed 300 stitches on this because Mickey won BB Blockbuster after being nominated. She won the BB Blockbuster. So 300 stitches were owed, and Mickey was safe. I did 309 stitches. I am now at 4,546 stitches complete of a total 25,291. I'm at 18%. Those numbers, take them with a big old grain of salt because this is not Pattern Keeper compatible. I need to look at maybe trying one of the other apps for this one. However, I have kept records of how many stitches I've done on this one, and it does give me a total stitch count in the chart. So I've been doing the math for those statistics. But anyway, yeah, I need to look at Markup RXP or Saga to see if I can get this uploaded into one of those, because it feels like it should be, I mean, it's 3 colors. It should be an easy one, but it does not work in Pattern Keeper. No matter what I try, I cannot get this one into Pattern Keeper, which is okay. I mean, it's okay. I can manage just fine. It just feels like one of those things that should work easily, especially since I bought the PDF from the Stickideen website. It feels like that should be an easy thing. So there's that project done. Before Mickey won BB Blockbuster, we had the veto competition. And It was OTEV, which is the most iconic veto competition of the summer, of the whole season. I love the OTEV competitions. I just think they're fun, and I think they would be fun to play. Difficult, not easy, but fun. So anyway, so we had our 3 nominees play. We had the head of household play, and then the head of household picked 2 other players by random draw to join them. And so I had timed out when I was working on things based on placing my bets who I thought was going to win veto. I was wrong. It was one of the randomly drawn people. It was Lauren who won the veto competition for this week, which was fun. I mean, you know, to win an iconic veto competition, that's like Big Brother bucket list, like way up there. I don't like Lauren. I can say it firmly. I don't like her. It bothers me that she wins the power of veto. She goes on, and this is gonna show up here in just a moment. She goes on to use said power of veto, and then she feels bad about it. I don't understand. The not wanting to anger anybody in the Big Brother game, where you need to be a little bit more wolfish in this game. It requires a certain personality type, and Miss only wants to make nice Lauren drives me a little crazy. So anyway, she won veto, and that's very exciting for her. And it was exciting for me because I got to work on her non-HOH project, which lives in this project bag. So this is a staple on my channel. This is Summer Sampler by the Kooler Design Studio. The bag is by Stitch and Button. Summer Sampler by the Kooler Design Studio. This was one of my small monthly goal pieces for this year, where I was trying to do 500 stitches a month just to keep working on it. This is a big piece, and it could use the regular effort. My small monthly goals I have all but abandoned them entirely, but it was cool to get to work on this one again. So, and I reached a really fun milestone. So here we go. Forgive the parked threads everywhere. I needed 300 stitches for Lauren's veto win, and I ended up doing 378 because I forgot to stop at 300. I was stuck on the mindset that I needed 500 stitches, so I just kept going, and then I went, oh yeah, I get to stop and switch to another thing that I need to do. So the fabric here is a 32 count cream Belfast linen from Zweigart. And I have been working in this center block here. So eventually, once I do the back stitch, it will say summertime and the living is easy. And so I started off by finishing off this mess. And it's not really a mess so much as it was just a lot of one color. It was a lot of one color. Some long stretches of one color. I think that might be part of the reason too why I continued on beyond the 300, because I just wanted to stitch on a different color for the first time in months. So I did this corner with getting into some deeper oranges and some corner details. So this block is still not finished. I've got the other corner to do and to round out the border of it. This is interrupted, and that's on purpose because the sheet music that kind of pops in right here covers up that bottom corner there. So it is a little bit interrupted, but I do still have the other corner to do before I can call that block complete and I can move on to something else for the first time this year, if I ever get back to this year. Anyway, okay, fun milestone time. Are you ready? 378 stitches this week. I am now at 15,441 stitches complete of a total 30,646. For those of you with calculators in your brains, that is 50.39% complete. I have surpassed the 50% mark on the cross stitch. I have not kept up with the back stitch, so I am well below 50% on the whole project, but the cross stitch, I am at 50.39%. So exciting. This is a project I started during Mania 2017, which means that it will be 9 next year. I would love to be able to finish this before it turns 10, but I don't know if that is in the cards, especially with abandoning small monthly goals. So I don't know, but it's still here for Big Brother stitching, so we will press on. I mentioned that Lauren did use her power of veto. She saved the third original nominee for the week, who was Vinnie. Vinnie was the one nominee that I expected, just given the animosity between him and Rachel. We knew Rachel was gunning for Vinnie, so that was not a surprise nominee. And then Lauren pulled up the gumption to use the power of veto despite Rachel insisting she not. And so Vinnie came off the block. So I needed 200 stitches into my project for Vinnie. And my project for Vinnie is a Symphony of Friendship by Cottage Garden Samplings. I love this piece so much, and I am just nowhere. What I have done, I was like, oh, I'm really making some progress here, and I can't wait to spend some more time on this. I'm up here. I'm up here. Like, I've got that. That's what I am nowhere on this piece, but that's okay because I love this piece, and so I'm gonna get to work on it forever. The project bag, by the way, is by Pop-Up Stitcher Emily. Pretty perfect bag for this piece, if I do say so myself. And I am stitching this using the called for DMCs. It also calls for a couple of fancy flosses. I have subbed for DMC. The fabric is a 40 count Newcastle linen from Extra Designs in what I believe to be the colorway Little Bunny. It is a kind of darker, warm neutral. And I'm stitching at 1/2. I am just nowhere. I mean, I have this is a full fat half, and Extra Designs measurements are generous. So it is a full fat half, if not beyond that. And I won't need the whole fabric, but a good portion of it I need for this monstrosity, and I am just nowhere. So I needed 200 stitches on this one. I ended up going a little bit over because I like to finish my thread on this one. So we did some more leaf work. This one is new, this one is new, and this little one is new. The acorn cap is finished up, so I added the darkest shade there, and then the branch. So we're getting there. We're getting there. On this corner, on this teeny tiny little corner. We're getting somewhere. I love this piece so much. I find this to be very meditative. Whenever I'm working on it, it's very meditative. So that is where we are with a Symphony of Friendship. 277 stitches. That's a paper chart, and I have no information, no numbers. I am nowhere. I am at maybe a percent. Maybe. Okay, so one last project. So we talked about Lauren. She won POV. She took Vinnie off the block, thus preventing herself from being the replacement nominee and also saving her final two, Vinnie. And so then we have the replacement nominee. And the replacement nominee was Riley. Now, there has been some stuff regarding Riley off air that they are not discussing at all in the show. Apparently, he's got some drama back home and a possible record. There have been some moments that folks are talking about over the live feeds. I don't watch the live feeds, so I don't have anything. I don't have anything solid here. I'm just going based off of the internet. I understand what I just said there out loud. Apparently, there has been some very possessive, aggressive behavior that Riley has exhibited that has been very like raising red flags as it pertains particularly to Catherine. Apparently he was not kind to Catherine, and he has said some things that were alarming. They did not yank Riley from the game. However, I am not convinced that they put in the fix. I'm not convinced that they did not put in the fix to get him evicted this week. Because it could have escalated. It could have escalated, especially if the back home issues are legitimate. And of course, CBS wants to save face. They don't want to draw attention to this. But I'm of a mind that Mickey did not win that BB Blockbuster fair and square. We didn't see it. We didn't see. It was a luck based. I mean, not entirely, but we did not see her win that. The camera very maybe conveniently panned away. Now, this is all conspiracy stuff and feeding the monster. But yeah. So I felt like it was worthwhile for me to mention it. So, Riley was our replacement nominee, and he was subsequently evicted. So, I needed 650 stitches into his project, and that lives in this project bag here. This is a bag by Black Cat X Stitchery, and in here lives my Fall Owl 5. So Fall Owl 5 is by Cross Stitch Pictorial, and that's an Etsy shop. I'll link them in the description box below. And this is a difficult project. 650 stitches. It took me a lot to get that done. So let me show you the progress and then I'll talk details. It's such a little thing. So this is a 32 count Belfast linen in vintage cottage cream from Zweigart. It's one of the printed fabrics with the modeling on one side and plain on the back. And this one is called Cottage Cream. And here is where I got to. So this project is difficult. It is 5 or 6 stitches of a color and then either tie it off or park it. And I have a way in which I like to do things. So I am oftentimes like rethreading constantly for this one. There is a lot of colors in this one, and it's in little bits. There's not so much ninja stitches as much as it's just all confetti. It's all confetti. So anyway, it's a fun project and it's turning out really beautifully. I have a long way to go yet on the stitching, and then I have a big backstitch task, but I love it. I really love this piece, and I think it's pretty. So I needed 650 stitches. I ended up doing 740 because I'm working in rows of 10 by 10 blocks, and I did not quite finish the row of 10 by 10 blocks, but I was trying to, and then I just had to go to bed. I had to give up and go to bed. So I did 740 stitches, bringing me to 3,227 stitches complete of 6,788 stitches total, which is a percentage complete of 47.54%. Very close to the halfway mark on this one. However, Riley has been evicted, so I won't be working on this for Big Brother purposes from here to the end of the year. Anyway, so that's where we got to with Fall Owl 5, and that concludes week 6. So with the way the filming is, like, it's not exactly working right now. I am going to change it up starting now with week 7. So there's going to be some more behind the camera filming, in part so that I can show you starting points and it can be apparent to you all the progress that I make for these little bits and pieces. I think that will just work out a little bit easier for me. I'm hopeful that means that I can be more consistent with my timing of things. And they don't have to feel so recap like the way that these have been. So anyway, so that's the plan going forward. So we are 6 weeks down and we have a long way to go yet. There are a ton of people left in this house. There's a lot of people left in this house. Before long, I expect the 3 nominees and BB Blockbuster, I expect that bit to go away and we will get down to just 2 nominees and no need for a BB Blockbuster. And once that happens, then I think we'll start having some double eviction nights. So let's talk about stitch counts for double eviction nights. If you are playing along and you are less familiar with the Big Brother format. Sorry, my screen just made a really funny light change. Anyway, so there is something called the double eviction nights, where Thursday night we have our typical eviction. And then we move directly into the next head of household competition, and it's usually a quick, very fast elimination style head of household comp. Where in which we have our HOH crowned. The HOH then names 2 nominees, then we go directly into the veto. They cram essentially a whole week's worth of Big Brother into one night. It's frantic, it's a little stressful, especially for the people playing it. A lot of things get shaken up inevitably in a double eviction night, excuse me. It's a lot that goes into those nights. So they cram a whole week's worth, and so by the end of it, we have 2 evictions. So for stitch counts for that, what I did last year was I just cut everything in half. So HOH was 350 stitches, each nominee was 100, veto was 150, renom was 75 stitches if necessary, evicted is I think we're going to stick to 500, I think is the plan for double eviction, because it is the last time you'll see the project, so you might as well do the 500 stitches. I always end up behind on after double eviction weeks, but that's okay. You can also choose to pick and choose which pieces you actually stitch for during double eviction nights. So just giving you a heads up that should be coming soon. It will help speed up the game a little bit because we have a long way to go and it's late August. This is a game that used to run only in the summertime. So it was the summer of Big Brother. It would start at the end of May, early June, and be done in September and ahead of regular season football. And now it runs right up into that same season, and it's a lot. So anyway, so that should be coming. I was going to ask who do you think will win the head of household competition for week 7, because the HOH comp for week 7 was another iconic comp. However, if I ask that question, some of y'all will spoil it. And so I'm not asking that question, so please don't. Don't spoil in the comments who the HOH is, just in case people weren't able to watch last night's episode yet. Yeah, I love the wall comp. It's a fun one. I would be terrible at that competition. First of all, because after 45 minutes of standing, I pass out. I have a heart condition that literally lays me out flat if I'm standing for 45 minutes. So if it lasted that long, plus with the tilting, I'd be done for. I'd be unconscious. I think that when my husband and I watch this show, we go, I wonder how I would do in this or that or this or that. And there are some things that I'd be like, oh, that would be so much fun. And there are other things where I'd be like, not for me. Wall comp I would not be good at. So anyway, okay, I'm going to head off here and get this posted for you all, especially since we're a little bit late. And so I will see you in my next video. If you are only here for the Big Brother updates, then I will see you on probably Sunday, and we'll finish up week 7 at that point. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna head off. Happy stitching, everybody. Expect the unexpected, and be kind. Bye, y'all.